call to order the Local Agency Formation Committee of Monterey County. It's our regular meeting, Monday, June 23rd, 2025, 3 p.m., Board of Chambers of the Board of Supervisors building. Roll call, please.
Thank you, Chair. Commissioner Bickle?
Here.
Commissioner Daniels?
Here.
Commissioner Kong?
Here.
Commissioner LaFell?
Here.
Commissioner Lindley?
Here.
Vice Chair Root Askew?
Here.
Chair Oglesby?
Here.
The following commissioners are excused: Commissioner Donahue, Commissioner Gorley, Commissioner Lopez, Commissioner Velasquez. Chair, we have quorum, and to note, Commissioner Bickle will be a voting member on behalf of the public member.
Oh, okay, I didn't understand. You said the ones that were excused?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. The following commissioners are excused. Not present.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, Commissioner.
Okay, I'm just trying to figure
I'm
out.
sorry for the.
No, that's fine, that's fine. We'll go on to, I would ask Commissioner Root Askew to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, if she would, please. Thank you. Next, we go to general public comments. Anyone from the public may address this commission on matters underneath our jurisdiction. Public comment is open.
Chair Oglesby, on Zoom, no hands are raised.
Okay, we'll keep public comment open for another 15 seconds. Public comment is open. Still no one?
Still no hands are raised.
Thank you so much. Seeing no one here, no one, public comment is closed. We'll go to our next item, which is one special business, selection of the LAFCO chair and chair pro tem for the period ending May 2026. With that, we'll open up nominations for chair, for LAFCO chair 2025-26.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to nominate Supervisor Wendy Root Askew for chair for this coming year.
Thank you so much. Any other nominations for chair the ensuing year of 2025 to 2026? Seeing no other nominations, nominations are closed. Well, I didn't ask you guys, did you want to vote all together or vote one on, have two votes or one vote? We'll ask Reed if it's legal or not.
The motion can encompass both in one, so it can be done in one action. It can also be done as a two-part motion, but it can be easily handled in one.
I would ask the maker of that motion to include both.
Can I amend? Can I put a friendly amendment on that motion? We'll just make this, kind of awkward. But could I amend your motion, Director Leffel, to add on the vice chair as Director Leffel?
Let me just. I'll open up the nominations first, but the motion will stand as it'll be vote for the chair and the vice chair, which is, thank you so much. That's okay with everybody. All right, I'll open up nominations for vice chair, which is called chair pro tem, for the ensuing year of 2025-2026. Nominations for vice chair is open.
And I'll, given that I believe we typically rotate and our special districts are up for rotation, I had the opportunity to speak to both of our special district representatives earlier today. And having had those conversations, I'm happy to nominate Mary Ann Leffel as our vice chair, being that she's interested in the position.
Thank you so much. Commissioner Leffel's name has been thrown in for vice chair. Any other nominations for vice chair? Seeing no one here, no one, nominations are closed for vice chair. Commissioner Root Eskew has been nominated for chair. Commissioner LAFCO has been nominated for vice chair. If there's no questions, I will call for the vote. All those that voting aye, say aye.
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 Are there any noes? Any abstentions? Ayes have it, motion carried unanimously. You have elected Commissioner Wendy Root Eskew as your chair and Marianne LAFCO as your chair pro tem. It's my honor now to turn over the gavel to Chair Wendy Root Eskew.
All right, and with that, let's say a big thank you to Chair Oglesby for your service as completing our mayor's representative term on LAFCO, keeping our meetings running smoothly and effectively. We appreciate you and your service. So thank you very much. And we'll move right along to our consent agenda. We have items, I believe it's 2 through 8. Any items to pull or any public comment? We'll open it up to public comment first. Anything on our consent agenda for public comment? Seeing no one in chambers, is there anyone online?
Chair, there are no hands raised on Zoom.
Okay, no public comment. Happy to entertain a motion or comments from the board.
Chair, I'd like to pull a couple of items, just a
All right.
clarification. Items 7 and 8.
And Chair, just now we did have a hand raised, and it is still raised. It went off and came back.
On. Okay. Any other items to pull from the board? Nope. And Chair, Director Leffel, is that for comment or separate vote?
I just need clarification, so we might want to do
Question.
separate.
Okay. Let's go to public comment for the full consent, and we'll take a comment on the consent.
Let's see, Stacy Smith, your hand is raised. Let's see if we can. I guess I'm not the host. Can the production room let the speaker speak? Okay, Stacy Smith, I believe you're able to speak if you unmute.
So this would be for public comment on the consent item. And we have it, sounds like one person for public comment. And now would be the time to unmute and share your public comment.
I think they're trying to, it's not picking up. I'll walk over, see if there's something we can.
Okay, well, while we troubleshoot on that IT issue, let's go to Director Leffel for your comments or questions or clarification on item number 7 and 8.
Thank you. I know that I've read the corrective measures for the districts that were having some issues, but do we think that they're going to meet the June 30th, 2025 timeline?
Commissioner Leffel and Chair Root Eskew, I think that question can best be answered most closely by our senior analyst, Jonathan Brinkman.
I apologize, I missed the question.
Sorry, Jonathan. I noticed on the Greenfield Cemetery District that they have target date June 30th to complete their financial audits and to do some of the things that they needed to do. Do we believe that they're going to make that date?
Yes, I've checked in with their staff to see if that is still accurate. In preparing the report, they said that target date is still, they're still on track for that.
Okay, and it looks like the other two are having a few more problems, so that their dates have been pushed back.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, the other Greenfield district is the Memorial District. And it has a target date of May 31st for their audits, which I haven't confirmed yet if that has been completed. I've been communicating with County Counsel's office that represents them, and they were reaching out to them, but haven't heard back when I prepared this report. And then also the Soledad Cemetery District, similarly, working with County Counsel's office to have them identify target dates for completing their items.
Okay, I really appreciate the way it's laid out. It's so much easier to be able to see it and keep track, so thank you. That was number one. Number two, I had a question on the Formation Commission on one of the bills. And I know that we don't get involved with that. It's staff that just decides that they're going to oppose or not. And the letters go out under the signature of our executive director. But I guess can you just explain a little bit more about the cemetery and the abandoned endowment care that's going on with that?
Yes, I'll provide some background here. This bill is SB 777, and it basically would direct LAFCO to find a public agency to take over private cemeteries that have been abandoned. And sometimes they have endowments left over, but typically it's not enough to continue to manage some of these private cemeteries. So that would create an unfunded mandate for a local agency like a local cemetery district that has a private cemetery within its boundaries, if that is to be chosen by LAFCO to take over. So on one end, the special district, the cemetery district, isn't typically provide the resources through this bill as currently written to take on management of a closed private cemetery. On the other hand, there's not a lot of instruction yet in the bill for LAFCOs. How's the LAFCO process for choosing and selecting a public agency to manage these cemeteries that have been abandoned? So those are the primary reasons for CalLAFCO to their legislative committee to recommend opposing the bill. Now there's discussions with the author, and it appears that there may be a new version coming out with some amendments where CalLAFCO could take a neutral position on the bill, addressing some of those issues that I laid out.
Are any of ours here in this county private? Do we have any that are pending abandonment?
Not in Monterey County as of yet. There are a couple LAFCOs that are would be affected by this bill immediately.
Okay. Okay. I'm good to recommend approval. I just needed to understand. It's kind of hard when we don't discuss them at all, and then I see letters that we're opposing or approving, and it's like we've not even discussed it. So it might be something in the future that we want to at least bring forward to discuss before letters go out, unless we're under some huge time crunch. And even at then, possibly we could do at least for your information so that we know what's going on before the letter goes.
Thank you.
So I move approval of those two items.
Let's go back to public comment and see if we're able to get audio on our public member.
Yes, I
Try one more time.
received a message from the production room that it should be working.
So if you're a member of the public and you wanted to join us and you have your hand raised, if you can unmute and share your public comment now.
Stacy Smith, if you could unmute and provide your public comment.
Hey. Okay, hold on. And I'm just checking our instructions for remote public participation. Typically, most of our agendas make public participation available for the convenience of the public. We also have a written option available. And I'm just going to check with council if someone is not able to, for technical reasons.
We are permitted to proceed. We have complied with the statute with respect to offering this just as a additional means of participation. We don't have any Zoom participating members of the commission today who'll be voting.
Okay, great. So for anyone who isn't able to make verbal comment, you are able to send an email to LAFCO for your comments to be added to the record. We will attempt again for our next item, but we will continue to try. Yeah. Oh, got it. And we do have standard language in our meeting agenda.
Page 2.
If all commissioners are present in person, public participation by Zoom is for convenience only and is not required by law. If the Zoom feed is lost for any reason, the meeting may be paused while a fix is attempted, but the meeting may continue at the discretion of the chairperson. So we will attempt to have connection for public comment moving forward, but move the meeting forward. So we have a motion on the floor for, or we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
So motion from Leffel, second from Daniels. All in favor of the consent?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, any opposed? Okay, unanimous approval, and we'll move on to our new business, item number 9. And I believe we have a presentation on our draft 2025 municipal service review and sphere of influence study for community services districts. And we'll take it to LAFCO staff. Is that you, Kate?
Thank you, Chair. This item will be presented by Senior Analyst Jonathan Brinkman.
Okay. Chair Rude Askew and Commissioners, today presenting to you a MSR for the 7 community services district throughout Monterey County and the Spreckles Veterans Memorial District. And just to orient a little bit, the Spreckles Veterans Memorial District is included since they share their services and facilities between the Spreckles Community Services District and the Memorial District. So we've packaged them together in this MSR. In the packet, we have an executive officer's report, a draft MSR, SOI study, and a draft resolution adopting the study as attachments. And the list of the CSDs is included on the cover page. And the goals of the study are to meet LAFCO's statutory mandates for periodic studies of the districts, to provide information informing the public on the districts, and where possible to assist the 8 special districts. And just a little background snippet on CSDs. They are multi-purpose special districts, so they can provide essentially nearly all the services that a city can provide, with the exception of land use. So they can provide services, and they are typically in their formation tailored to the community that they serve, and then through a LAFCO activation or divestiture of powers, those powers can be adjusted to meet the community's needs. And on this slide, we're just showing where these 7 community services districts are located, and the Spreckles Veterans Memorial District on the map. So we go all the way from North County, where the Pajaro Sunny Mesa Community Service District is located, to the southern end where the Santa Lucia Community Services District is located. And the study has a number of key findings. These are summarized here on the slide. It's on page 7 of the study. The districts, these findings include the districts are effectively carrying out their missions, providing essential services to their communities. The districts are actively working towards addressing their identified challenges. Most of the districts are meeting state legal requirements and best practices, and we did a survey as part of the study to just verify that the state legal requirements are being met. And on that in that respect, the Spreckles CSD and the Spreckles Veterans Memorial District have areas where they are not in conformance with state legal requirements, and that's in the areas of audits for the last 3 to 5 years, and their ethics and harassment prevention training, which they are not current with requirements for the training. And then another key finding is that we are not recommending changes to the district's sphere of influence or active powers that they provide at this time. Now, I wanted to get into a little bit of the Santa Lucia CSD on their district profile. So after distribution of this June 23rd meeting packet, LAFCO staff received communications and communicated with both Monterey County Regional Fire District and the Santa Lucia CSD. And it's regarding the MSR's discussion of their fire and EMS services. Both districts, both the fire district and the CSD are working together. Essentially, the CSD is providing, the fire district is providing the service of fire protection and emergency medical response. The CSD is providing supplemental funding to enhance the funding for their fire station within their district. But staff is recommending that we continue this item so we can just coordinate with both districts, so we just can clarify and coordinate with them on how we're describing how these services are provided. The MSR had included some discussion on that the district was providing the service, which is to a certain extent, but we just want time to clarify that in a better way in the report. So that is the reason for we're recommending that just this district profile be continued to the August or October meeting. Then on the East Garrison CSD district profile, we do have just a following on the slide, clarification and correction to the discussion of law enforcement services, just to more accurately to remove a sentence and replace it with a sentence about law enforcement services are being provided by the Monterey County Sheriff's Office in a revenue neutral manner to the county through special taxes from the East Garrison community. It was just a correction that we thought would better describe how these services are being provided in East Garrison. And so with those two recommendations from staff as part of being incorporated into the recommendation for the commission today, the following are the recommendations. One is to find the study exempt from CEQA. Another is to approve the study with the exception of the Santa Lucia CSD district profile, moving that to the August or October commission meeting for commission review and approval, and to include that clarification correction to the East Garrison CSD section, and to adopt the recommended determinations in the study in accordance with our government code, and to affirm the currently adopted sphere of influence of the 8 districts with no changes, and to authorize the executive officer to proceed with a range of corrective measures to address the Spreckles Community Services District and Veterans Memorial District's non-compliance with state legal requirements and best practices. And just want to note on the preparation of the study, for each of the district staff met with district staff and district elected, sometimes the chair of the district, And these meetings were important in collaborating and to providing the study. And we want to thank the districts for coordinating with us and for working with us through this study. And just on next steps, with assuming there's an approval tonight for the study, staff would continue to update the commission on status of implementation of those recommendations for corrective measures for the 2 Spreckles districts. With that, that concludes staff's presentation, and we're available for any questions.
All right, thank you for the comprehensive work on these. We'll bring it to the commission for questions.
Yes.
Our Commissioner Oglesby.
Thank you, Chair. I have a little concern, so I guess my question goes straight to the executive directors. What was said that these 2 districts, talking about Spreckles, the two districts there, what was said with the board or whoever you spoke with that they would need 6 months to come to compliance with ethnics training? And that's why I'm trying to understand, why would we extend 6 months to do something you should be able to go online and take care of within a couple hours, to be honest about it, right? And so that's what I'm trying to grab hold to.
Commissioner Oglesby, clearly that that requirement can be easily and quickly complied with. So I think that we would anticipate that compliance would be this summer and not drag it out. So right after this study is approved, we'll be in touch with the general manager and for the districts and just encourage compliance much more quickly.
Right, but if we vote to say we extend it to 6 months, then they can wait the 6 months. My only concern is we should be trying to bring them up to speed as soon as possible. And after that training, then they know what they're supposed to do because they received the ethics training. And so for us not to have a firm date and just, there's no doubt in my mind that they want to be in compliance.
Right.
But I'm just wondering, why would we support a 6-month window?
We could make that a shorter timeline, for instance, 6 weeks, end of July. I think that would be reasonable.
I get, 6 weeks or 6 days. Let me just be a little more clear, right? Whatever's happening is happening, and they're responsible to their district residents, right? Yeah. And so for us to say 6 months, 6 weeks, 6 days is somehow that's too short of a time when they've been out of compliance for a lot long. I'm okay with the board. I just wanted to bring it to the board's attention about 6 months may be a little bit too long.
Understood. Thank you.
Any other questions over here? Nope. Okay, we'll go to Commissioner Leffel.
Along that line, I felt the same way because I believe that when we were talking about the South County Greenfield area and Soledad being out of compliance, they were having a hard time finding board members and keeping board members, whereas I don't think Spreckles has had that issue. Those board members those are some fairly long-term people who have, I think they know their responsibility, and I mean, we're the least of their problems. If they get to the FPPC, that's a whole nother issue. So, I mean, I would support Commissioner Oglesby and say by July 31st in the way we're going to approve this. And I don't know that having your auditor or financial person die has anything to do with the 2 mandatory trainings of ethics and harassment. So that was, to me, the way it was written, I was like, really? I don't think we're going to blame that on a finance person who's a third party. So anyway, I would agree with July 31st drop dead date on that. And then I also had a problem or a question on it's on page 74 of recommended actions on the East Garrison piece. And staff will continue to coordinate with, assist County Monterey in achieving the services district becoming independent special. And it said that we encourage the county to conduct a feasibility study every 5 to 7 years. How long since the last one?
It's my understanding there has not been a feasibility study to compare how the county currently manages as a district with a potential for an independent district managing the district. So
Never since 2005?
it's my understanding there hasn't been a feasibility study comparing the two, like a proposed independent special district run district versus dependent district.
Okay, so if we are going to encourage the county to conduct one, maybe we could ask our two fellow commissioners who sit here to inquire into that and let us know what's going to happen, because it just seems like they're sitting out there thinking something might be going to get done, and their residents change, and whoever has a voice out there. And meanwhile, it appears that none of us are doing what was told to them we were going to do. Is that correct?
No, that's not exactly correct. There's a very prescriptive set of steps that were outlined when East Garrison was formed that defined the timeline that it would be dependent, the timeline by which it would have to take a vote to become, to decide whether or not to stay dependent or independent. That occurred a couple of years ago. And at this point now, this would be the first time at which now the county would need to engage in ongoing support to help the community decide whether or not it wanted to remain independent or dependent. So until very recently, there's been a prescriptive timeline that the district has been under. Now moving forward, it would be appropriate, I think, to include this type of timeline and feasibility study. Until now, that there has been we've been following the prescriptive timeline that was set out when the district was formed.
So the voters said no, they don't want to be a district. Is that correct?
That's what the voters said.
Last time it went up
The
for
first
vote.
time that they were required to take that vote, correct?
Okay. So why would we encourage the county to conduct a feasibility study every 5 to 7 years when it's been 2 years? Shouldn't we just encourage it now? Or is there, I'm just having a hard time with how it's written and why we would just say every 5 to 7 years and not say it needs to be done now or do it again in 7 years. But what's the reasoning, I guess?
I would just put out there that, these votes happen every 5 to 7 years, at least in the past, looking back from now. So just to fully inform voters before they come to the next vote is generally it's not required to do a feasibility study, but it's something we think would help the voters to see, okay, we're not just going by faith in the dark of what it means to be an independent district, but we see some numbers of what the cost might mean for us as residents of the district.
I guess I'm just still confused why we would just put that sentence in there. Either we would encourage the county to have one, or we would encourage the residents to ask for one, but not set a 5 to 7 year timeline every 5 to 7 years. That's into perpetuity, that we're encouraging something that hasn't even ever been done. That's why I'm just trying to figure this out, because we are going to vote on all of this.
So I think I'll just add, I think the county did just, for additional context, approve expanding the changing the specific plan for East Garrison, and it's just now beginning to move forward with the phase 3 development and build out. So 5 to 7 years would be potentially, because the build out is continuing, I think the 5 to 7 year timeline would give the community sort of an appropriate sort of movement in time to think about voting again. The community has to be the one to initiate the vote. And so if the county were to initiate a feasibility study, it would give the community the information that they could use to then to decide whether or not they wanted to move forward with a vote at the point in time in which there's been additional build out. So whether that stays, whether 5 to 7 years, my reading of this would be every 5 to 7 years until the next MSR is done. And at the point in time, and I'd love staff to weigh in on this, but at the point in time at which the next MSR is done, we may be in a different situation. But I guess is your question, is this forever, or is this until the next MSR is done?
Well, when you say every 5 to 7 years, that's forever. I mean, that's not just, let's do it in 5 to 7 years. It's every 5 to 7 years. So I'm just trying to.
Okay, let's pass it to staff and see if there's a little more guidance.
Do the residents have to ask for it?
Yeah, let's take to staff for some more guidance.
A suggestion, Chair and Commissioners, is that that language be amended to say something like that we are encouraging the county to conduct a feasibility study within 5 years. Let's just start with one feasibility study and see how that goes. And that way, we're not locking the county into an obligation for perpetuity. But
I can live with that. That makes sense to me.
thank you for your
Thank you.
question.
Let's bring it over to Commissioner Daniels and then Oglesby. No.
Thank you,
Daniels.
Chair Askew. I think I had some confusion over East Garrison as well. And perhaps this is just being a new commissioner and a new supervisor. If someone would have asked me before that lived in the community, should I vote yes or no on whether or not we should become our own district, my gut instinct at that time would have been no, because it's not built out yet. And I would have felt like, don't let the county off the hook, for lack of a better word. We've got obligations still that we have to see through. I might be totally off or not understanding this correctly. So my first question was really, I didn't realize that it was a goal of the counties that East Garrison would become an independent special district. That makes perfect sense. But that language was sort of absent from the general conversation when the vote was happening. And so if the feasibility study would be used to help residents understand why this is an important decision to make, that it should be sooner rather than later. One, I feel like that would be good information to have. But whose responsibility? This is the first time reading this in a LAFCO report. Is it whose responsibility is it, and why is it if it's revenue neutral? Why is it the goal of the county to have East Garrison become an independent special district? And if it's a goal and it's important, I think there's a step that's missing in terms of how we get there, and it might be the feasibility study, but I'll leave it there if that's at all clear. Excuse me.
We'll bring that back to staff for
Yes.
initial insight.
Okay. Through the chair, Commissioner Daniels, the district was formed by LAFCO in 2005, and it was clearly the intention of LAFCO and all the parties at the time that this was to become an independent special district. The idea of the district and this new neighborhood staying or being part being governed by the County of Monterey, that was intended to be a temporary measure until there were enough voting residents that moved in, not necessarily to the end of phase 3, just enough for a decent sized body of residents who could vote on taking the county out of it in terms of governance and letting it become independent. So from a LAFCO perspective, it's lingered a long time in this status, but it is not meant to be a permanent burden in any way for the County of Monterey. Community services districts, by their nature, are intended to strive for that goal of independence, so that they have their own governing body and make their decisions. They may end up still coordinating. Obviously, they would still coordinating with the county, maybe contracting for county services and with other agencies, but doing it under their own governance structure.
So then, just through the chair, as a member of LAFCO then, sitting in this seat, I think that either the feasibility study sort of sooner rather than later, or perhaps just helping the county along a little more forcefully in terms of just articulating the importance and that this was part of the long-term vision, and then what those benefits would be. Independence, who knows? I don't have all the answers to those questions, but I think something's missing just because just as a regular reader of newspapers and not having been a supervisor for very long, I missed that part in the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go to Commissioner Oglesby.
I guess they met the critical mass of enough people to vote, but they voted no, right? So it's very important that they do have some type of study to show the benefits and the detriment to actually going independent, right? That's the whole thing. But I'm getting to the timeline in between. And that's usually, you don't ask voters to change or think about what they just voted on every 2-3 years. That's how we get to the 5 or 7 years, right? So I'm just explaining that part of it. And so that voter that voted no, it's a little disingenuous to say, well, you voted no, and then every 2 years we're going to ask you to take that same vote. So you're supposed to have some type of distance in there, and maybe that's 5 years, and maybe that is definitely come back with the study to show them what is the implications of their vote, right? They may, I don't know. It may be very expensive. But if LAFCO had the intentions of them being independent, then that's why we're dealing with it here, and that's why we should be asking the county to move it forward as they see fit in a sense. And I'll just say with this, that's why we need to keep track of it, because that's why we helped to create it in 2005. And so it's not like we're turning it over, and it's just the county and the residents. It's on our books until they, I guess, go independent. Then it's something we have to monitor, right?
That's correct.
Okay. I guess we monitor them after they become a district too.
So to give the members of that district a way to make an informed vote, they need to have the feasibility now. And then 5 to 7 years from when we get that done, as it goes forward, right? I would say we don't need to wait 5 to 7 years. The county should have probably already done that.
Anything else to add?
Nothing.
No. Okay. Commissioner Kong, did you have some comment or question?
No, because I don't want to complicate things even more, because I'm thinking even further back on that. In terms of, there was talk a while back, some of the residents talking about merging with, the city of Marina, but I don't want to get into that subject. So I'm kind of thinking, if they decide they don't want to, want to stay where they are, or they want to be a special district, or all the alternatives, if there's a cost savings, that they would merge with the city of Marina for cost savings for fire, police, whatever. But I don't want to, I'm just throwing that out, but what is it? I'll just leave it at that. So I think, sounds like maybe there needs to be a little bit more research on this subject. Thank you.
Thank you. And to that question of annexation with Marina, can we just speak to that? And that's referenced in this MSR. Could we have staff comment on that briefly, just for the record?
For the record, that question does come up occasionally. Can East Garrison become part of the city of Marina? And based on all the information that we do have, that would probably not be financially feasible for the city of Marina to take that on. There's also the question of the distance between the city limits and East Garrison. They are not adjoining. And there's the issue that there is a brand new fire station now that serves the East Garrison community. It was built by Monterey County Regional Fire. And so if that neighborhood was to become part of the city of Marina, the question becomes how to make Monterey County Regional Fire District whole, because the services for fire and EMS would be delivered by the city. And so there's quite an array of issues. And probably 5 or more years ago, we did have a town hall meeting with the residents of East Garrison and county supervisors to discuss some of these options and pathways forward.
Great, thank you. Okay, we'll go back to Commissioner Oglesby.
Yeah, just a quick, easy question. I would imagine the county has some facilities over there in East Garrison too that would have to be reimbursed for the cost of. I'm talking to the chair. The parks, people pay for other things over there besides the fire station. I'm talking about parks and things of that. Wouldn't they have to be reimbursed for that? If they were put in there because they were going independent district as opposed to coming into the city? Or you don't count those things?
Into the,
If it went into Marina.
I
The chair named the fire station as one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, isn't there other public infrastructure that would also have to be
if there was an annexation with Marina?
repaid?
If there was an annexation to the city of Marina, the parks, I believe, were paid for by the residents through Mello-Roos community facilities funds. But there may be other items just outside the neighborhood there, some storm drain or retention ponds that I think are definitely part of the county's infrastructure. So there would be a lot of questions.
So to the chair, that's why we need a feasibility study.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so I think we've had an extensive conversation on East Garrison. I'll just add it's been an extremely complex item for the county to navigate the dependent special district and the history. This MSR speaks to the dependent CSD. In addition to the CSD, there's an HOA. There's a whole bunch of items that have been passed back and forth between the HOA, the CSD, the cost neutrality agreements that have been put in place, items that the Mello-Roos is people are paying taxes for, people are paying fees for, not always receiving services in exchange for those things. So keeping all of that clear, keeping all of the agreements in place has been fairly extensive. the votes to become dependent or to stay dependent or not become independent that took place most recently in 2022. That was the last scheduled vote that took place. So I do support the idea of having, as was originally written in this MSR, LAFCO has not always done an MSR every 5 years. So the way that this is currently written, where it suggests that a feasibility study is done every 5 to 7 years, assumes that if an MSR isn't completed again for 10 years or 12 years or 15 years, as the last MSR wasn't completed for 15 years, that if we did a feasibility study in five years and the residents chose not to pursue a vote of independence, it would then allow an additional feasibility study to be completed 5 years after that, giving the residents another opportunity to consider whether they wanted to pursue a vote of independence in the absence of a new MSR being completed. So the way that this is currently written, allowing and encouraging the county to conduct a feasibility analysis every 5 to 7 years to provide information for residents to make an informed decision regarding becoming an independent special district, I think does make sense and allows the county to pursue that feasibility study and conduct a feasibility study on a regular schedule until such time that the district chooses to vote to become independent successfully. It is how I think it would make sense to keep it written. But given the conversation, if there's a desire to change that, it would then require LAFCO to do another MSR, allowing us to continually revisit this issue here, which may be also necessary. So having said that, I think the other item that was noted as a change by staff was under law enforcement services, and this has been an ongoing topic of conversation and issue for the residents of East Garrison is under law enforcement services. And one of the items is effectively a fee that the residents have included as part of the fees that are paid to fund law enforcement, the Monterey County Sheriff's Office. And it's not necessarily ever it was written originally and it didn't ever include a direct benefit for services. So one of the questions that we noted when reading the draft was, did the sheriff commit to providing additional law enforcement services? And so having the clarification there, so there's a fee being paid, but with any additional housing anywhere in the county, there's just a cost of additional residents in the county that falls on the additional people. With additional residents in the county, there's additional costs to the sheriff's office. Whether it's being utilized or not, there's additional calls that come in that the sheriff has a responsibility for responding to. So whether that results in lower response times or not, that changes from sheriff to sheriff and budget to budget. So having that clarification was helpful. And then the one item that for me, we've always had to come back to is this revenue neutrality that was fundamental to how East Garrison was designed, which has not always made it easy to navigate issues as they've arisen. And most other communities don't have that revenue neutrality concept as a baseline for how you negotiate problem solving, but that is unique to East Garrison. So I support the changes that were presented. I don't support the change to the 5 to 7 years. I would like to see that happen on an ongoing basis until such time that we have a vote for independence. But with that, let's take it out to public comment and then bring it back to the board for final comments and questions. Is there anyone with us for public comment? We are on item number 10, our draft 2025 municipal service reviews. we're on item number 9, our draft 2025 municipal service reviews, and we have someone here with us in chambers. Thank you so much for joining us for the discussion today.
Thank you, Commissioners. My name is James Durbin. I'm the General Manager with Castroville Community Services District, and I just wanted to thank Jonathan and Kate and the rest of the LAFCO staff for making the MSR process so open-ended, or not open, but open discussion, welcoming. They took time, they listened, they provided drafts to us. It was a really easy process and very informative, and I just wanted to thank the LAFCO staff for their service. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for the positive feedback. We always appreciate that, and thanks for joining our meeting today. All right, any other public comment with us online? If you're with us online and you can raise your hand, we will give you a chance to speak. I'm not seeing any hands raised on public comment. Thank you for adding me as panelist so I can monitor. Okay, with that, we'll bring it back to the board, and we had Commissioner Daniels.
Yeah, just wanted to add to the comment that I made in light of the comments and the conversation that we've had. It actually is not in perpetuity because it's every 5 to 7 years, really, until an independent special district is formed. So if this is the goal and this was the vision and this was the plan, regularly trying to encourage the county to produce that feasibility report until it's the vote is taken and it's successful would be really important.
I have one more question.
Okay, we'll do,
By law, how often are we supposed to do MSRs? Because I think it's written into what we're supposed to do, right?
Yes, thank you. The Cortese-Knox-Hertzberg Act actually provides a lot of flexibility in answering that question. Our obligation as an agency is to perform municipal service reviews approximately every 5 years or as needed. And so we have a lot of leeway there as to when that is accomplished based on other priorities and just balancing workload. And as you can see with the very next agenda item, we quickly did a municipal service review to assist the King City. Just pulled it out of line and did it to support the requests that they'll have to us.
And Chair Askew, just to your point, I would really still like us to do a feasibility study within 5 years, since one has never been done, to get a baseline so that then people can make an informed decision. Because otherwise you just have neighbors meeting and somebody has one idea and somebody has another, but they really don't have any data to go with. So I think it's incumbent upon us to encourage that some data, which has never been brought together, be done, and then people can decide what they're going to do.
Yes, I think I would agree. We would like to see data provided and votes taken to move us forward. Okay, so with that, I'm happy to entertain a motion unless there's additional discussion desired. And we opened this up for public comment. We do see Stacy Smith's hand raised. Stacy, we did open public comment and close it, but in the interest of engaging the public, we will open it up for public comment one more time. This is for item number 9. We welcome your public comment now. You should be able to unmute yourself and share your comment. But you'll need to unmute yourself.
I did. Can you hear me? I'm unmuted now. Can you hear me? Hello? Hello?
We can hear you. Please proceed.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. Sorry, I'm going to try this one more time. So I am Stacy Smith. I am also a resident of East Garrison, as well as the representative for Marina Coast Water District for LAFCO to attend the meetings as a representative. And I wanted to concur with Vice President Leffel's comment about we do need to have a feasibility study here. You know that you brought up many issues that obviously we do have regarding we're paying for items we're not receiving, which one is sheriff presence in our community, as well as other items. We are under, Marina Coast Water District here as well. So that is one thing, but the feasibility study, I have lived here 8 years and I have not seen us have one, or has not been presented to the community as far as I know. If we, as Marianne had mentioned, we do need to have as a direction for a community to be able to vote on anything, that we are making an educated vote. I cannot see us being, independent on our own at this time. We're not at that point at all. We have quite a bit of build out still left here, and I don't know when that's going to be done, but that's just I wanted to just give you my opinion and take on that. And I appreciate all of the information that you've all provided, which has been very helpful so far. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us, Stacey, and thank you for your perseverance getting through on Zoom. We appreciate all of our public. All right, with that, let's bring it back to the board. We happy to entertain a motion on item number 9.
I would move that we approve item number 9 with the change that the 2 Spreckles districts will complete their mandatory training by July 31st of 2025, and that's all board members and staff members, employees, anybody in the district that is required. And I would also put in there that we would also conduct a feasibility study within 5 years, and then every 5 to 7 years after that.
Would the maker of the motion also include the continuing the Santa Lucia CSD district profile section to the future meeting and correcting the East Garrison law enforcement section as directed by, or as outlined by?
Yes, I would honor the request of the 2 districts that would like a continuation to be able to work out the wording and the differences until August or October. With staff, and also then the correction on the change on the wording on the sheriff's obligation to East Garrison.
We have a motion.
I think we have just one more amendment, if I could offer it, which was the Santa Lucia extension. Maybe I missed that. Staff was asking for an extension.
Fire District and Santa Lucia districts, so they can work out their differences. I didn't name them by name.
So sorry. Okay. I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Leffel. We have a second from Commissioner Daniels. I'm just going to double check with staff. Did that include everything that you heard discussed? All right. Was that a Commissioner Ogles? Did you have additional comment?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
So who's doing the study? Because,
So-
I mean, the way,
Yep.
right, someone said the county, but the way we were talking in the motion, it was we, and I think that's, my understanding is the wording was encourage the county. Right. That's what I'm trying to make sure we leave here tonight is the county doesn't have to do anything.
So
We're-
if I may.
Well, I want to finish my question.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's just simple, is that what we're understanding is we're saying encourage the county?
And it can either through staff, or I can explain that as a dependent district, the county is the staff to the district. And so county staff provides the staff support. So given once we approve this, I can assure you that we will be working closely to encourage that the county staff who manages the district will with due haste take all actions as recommended in the MSR here to proceed as outlined and referenced in the paragraph. It says a feasibility analysis would show a comparison of the potential costs for an independent special district versus the current dependent district costs. This feasibility analysis would be paid for by the district funds. I assume that this would be something that could either be done internally or be outsourced. The language that was changed by Commissioner Leffel would be to conduct one immediately and then again in 5 years. Determining who and how that best to proceed with that within the priorities that are already listed. But as a supervisor for the district area, we would be encouraging that to happen quickly. So do you have anything to add for that?
I just wanted to clarify, I think that Commissioner Leffel talked about doing the initial feasibility study within 5 years, and then every 5 years after that, you're talking about conducting the feasibility study immediately.
Let's get clarification. What was the language?
I left it 5 years just to give people some flexibility because it's not in the budget this year, obviously, for the county to do it. So we're at least a year out, and then it takes several months to gather it. So we're probably at the earliest 3 years before you'd have a finished study, just if it's done right. So, I'm trying to honor what I thought I heard Supervisor Askew ask for, but I also think that this is something. My background is data, and I don't know how you can make informed decisions without data.
So we'll use, they just voted in 2022 as well. So let's use the language that you outlined to clarify. So we have a motion, we have a second. Thank you for the clarification. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, I think we had a unanimous approval. Thank you so much. We can move on to item number 10. Item number 10 is a public hearing to draft a 2025 municipal service review and sphere of influence study for King City. This starts on page 137 of our agenda, and we'll bring it to LAFCO staff. I'm guessing, is this you, Jonathan? Oh, I got it wrong. Every time I'm guessing. All right, Darren, all you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair and members of the Commission. This MSR is for King City. We do have just a single agency in this MSR for a change, which is nice. Hopefully, maybe a little more straightforward. I think it's been a long time since we had a single agency MSR, but we have one for you here today. The City of King City provides a full range, pretty typical range of standard city services, along with a couple of municipal services that are maybe a little less typical, including operation of a municipal airport, and the city council also functions as a provider of electrical energy pursuant to the state law that came into effect in 2002, AB 117, and community aggregation and community choice. The city acts as a wholesale energy purchasing agent and provides that service to its residents. The MSR on page 7 provides an overview of city services and facilities, and that includes a $110 million project that the city has lined up to build a new wastewater treatment plant within the next couple of years. And actually, just in the last few months, in March, the city approved a rate study to pass new wastewater sewer rates to help pay for that much-needed facility. And just last month, the city council held a public workshop and approved those new sewer rates pursuant to the study. Looking at the sphere of influence of the city, and I'll just mention basically under state law, sphere of influence is defined as essentially a future growth area where services and expansion are anticipated to be potentially needed in the next 5 to 20 years. But anyway, there are a couple of areas that are within the city's existing sphere that are proposed to remain. The first one is the unincorporated community of Pine Canyon, which is about 1,900 people to the southwest of the city. And then the other area that's within the city's sphere and proposed and recommended to remain is about a 20-acre parcel on the east side of the city on Lone Oak Road. This is an area where LAFCO approved a minor sphere amendment just back in 2020 to help facilitate an out-of-agency service extension of city sewer services to support development of a farm worker housing project on that site. That has not yet been built, but in any case, the city does wish to keep both of these areas, the Pine Canyon and this David Gill-owned agricultural site, keep both of those within the existing sphere. So there's no change recommended there. However, there are two that are within the city's existing sphere that are requested to be undesignated from the sphere. These are two parcels that are adjacent to the wastewater treatment plant. They are agricultural parcels. They are in production. They're used as farming. One is about 80 acres and the other one's 55 acres. These are two parcels that the city sold to these agricultural landowners back around 2017, 2018. And these are parcels that are no longer needed for the wastewater treatment plant. Like I said, the city has sold them off. And the city has indicated that there is no need or reason to keep them within the sphere of influence, and staff essentially concurs with that and is recommending that it's appropriate to remove these from the sphere. That brings us to the main portion of the proposed sphere amendment, which is addition of this approximately 180-acre area to the city's sphere of influence. This is a site that's, of course, right adjacent to the city. It consists mostly of riverbed and floodplain lands. There's some chaparral and vegetation in there. There is no farmland on the site, and there's probably realistically no, developable area in terms of, urban type development. It's just the layout and the topography and being within the floodplain is just not really suitable for that. There have been 4 wildfires on or next to this site within the last 5 years, and those are shown on this slide here in the aerial photo on the bottom part of the screen. And these are fires that have been quite a significant safety hazard and a threat to the community, which is literally right there to the north of this parcel. In any case, staff is recommending that it is appropriate to bring this site into the city's sphere of influence. In other words, staff supports and recommends approval of this proposed sphere addition that the City Council has requested. And just to add that bringing the site into the city's sphere is a step towards annexation. It doesn't bring it into the city limits now. It is a step toward annexation. The city staff has indicated that the plan there is to move forward with annexing the site within about 3 to 5 years or so. And at that point, once it is brought into the city limits, that will advance the city's goals of being able to exercise law enforcement jurisdiction, code enforcement, and wildfire prevention authority. And as I said, there's no development that's being anticipated there. The city basically sees bringing it into the site for those purposes I just mentioned, and then possibly some recreational and open space type uses to that might also kind of complement the existence of a county regional park that's right there. So anyway, those are the types of uses that the city sees happening on that site eventually. Turning to the key findings of our study, these are on pages 4 to 6. Our study finding and recommending that the commission find that the city of King City is an efficient and effective service provider. The city generally maintains a healthy fiscal outlook with revenues that are above expenses. In terms of general trends over the last 5 years, there are increasing fund balances and steadily increasing net financial position that the city has. Further, our study is looking at the projected growth and needs to provide for that the city has. The population growth that's being projected is only very modest, adding about 1,000 people by the year 2050. And lastly, our study is recommending that or staff is recommending that the proposed sphere amendment is appropriate and in the public interest, as discussed before. In terms of recommended actions for the commission, these are on page 6 of the study. Staff is recommending that the commission find preparation of the study to be exempt from CEQA, approve the study and its recommended determinations. Number 3 is consider the CEQA document that the city prepared and approved for its proposed sphere of influence amendment. That's the mitigated negative declaration that you have in your packet as attachment 3, indicating that the anticipated future land uses by the city when the site is eventually annexed will have no significant effect on the environment. And lastly, the recommended action is to approve the city's proposed sphere amendment. This is my last slide here. Just a note on the process that we've had for arriving where we are today. The preparation of this study has been a collaborative process involving city staff, along with county consultation. City and county staff consulted on the sphere amendment in general, and we know there has also been extensive county involvement with securing state grant funds of about $6.4 million last year to help support developing permanent supportive housing there in King City, within the city limits, on a site that was formerly a Days Inn, but is being developed as permanent housing, including for some people quite potentially who have been living in encampments on the site that we were discussing just a minute ago, the proposed sphere of influence amendment site that the city approved a wildfire prevention plan on a couple of months ago. So part of the goal here is to is for the city and the county working together and advancing shared goals that they have to improve the situation with encampments and providing for the needs of people who are living in pretty desperate circumstances there in homeless encampments in the King City area, including on the site that's being proposed to add to the sphere. And just lastly, with regard to the preparation of the study, again, a collaborative process also in terms of preparing an initial draft that was shared with city representatives for their comments, feedback, and suggestions, and those have been integrated into a second admin draft, which was also shared with the city and brought forward to you today as a public review draft as well in the form you have it before you today in your packet. So. On that note, thank you very much for your attention, and appreciate it. And I'm sure we have a city representative, the planning director, Ms. Doreen Lerberto Blanc, who may wish to add some additional context. And we'll look forward to hearing from her. And I'd like to thank her and recognize her for her time and effort in contributing to our study here today. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And it looks like we have Doreen online. Should we give Doreen a chance to comment? Would this be the right time?
I believe so. That really concludes staff remarks. So I think we can turn it back over to you, Madam Chair, and then Doreen would be able to speak as part of basically kicking off our public comment
All right,
section today.
fantastic. Well, let's go ahead and pass the floor to Doreen. Thank you so much for participating and joining us here today.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Can you hear me?
For joining us.
You can hear me. Okay, fine. First of all, I want to thank the Commission for considering this sphere of influence amendment. And in particular, I want to thank your LAFCO staff. They're outstanding and very helpful. And the City of King really wants to extend our thanks to your staff and to the Commission. In March, the City Council adopted a wildfire prevention plan. And as part of that plan, we had 2 community meetings, we had a number of public hearings, and there was an outcry from the public that because of the fires, and as your staff had mentioned, there were 4 fires, since the adoption of that, there has been a 5th fire. And that we needed to start looking at code enforcement, providing more fire protection, more law enforcement in that area. And we understand the county is spread very thinly, and so we felt that the city could go ahead and provide those services since this is adjacent to the city area. As well, the city has been working on trails around the city, and one of the other things that we considered was cleaning up this area, maintaining it as open space and recreation, and working with the national parks on the De Anza Trail, which goes along the riverbank area and meets up at San Lorenzo Park. And we have been meeting with county staff on trying to make that work. So at this point, as part of the wildfire prevention plan, there was a recommendation about eventually annexing this area. And at this point, the city is talking to the property owner, and we highly recommend that you adopt the resolution for the sphere of influence amendment. And then hopefully within the next 3 to 5 years, the city can annex that property. With that, I'll conclude my presentation and open it for any questions you may have.
Thank you again for your kind remarks and coordination and participation with our team here at LAFCO. I'll bring it back to our commission for comments, questions.
Just one question
Commissioner
through the
Daniels?
chair.
Yep.
Which was the property that that was just referenced that's adjacent to the proposed sphere of influence amendment?
We'll take that to staff.
Just to clarify, if I may, thank you for the question. Basically, if you look at the map on page 5 of the study, the parcel that is proposed to be added to the sphere is in that light yellow color, and then the existing sphere is that kind of light greenish blue color, and then the darker green is within the city. So actually, so there's about a 200-acre parcel here that includes, these river bottom lands and floodplain. A little bit of it is actually already within the city sphere, and then we're recommending, and the proposal from the city and staff's recommendation for approval is for that area shown in yellow on the map, if that helps.
Yes, I just thought I heard at the very end about an additional parcel that the city's working with a landowner, and I'm just wondering where it is on that map that you're looking at right now. Maybe I misheard. I could have.
Commissioner Daniels, it's the same landowner.
Okay.
That landowner does support the study and the proposed sphere of influence amendment. And so I think what Doreen was saying is that they're continuing those discussions about a future annexation application.
Got it. Thank you. My apologies for my confusion.
Okay.
Great, thank you. And I think I saw Commissioner Leffel move in for the microphone.
Yeah, I have followed what happens down there, and I think those fires are so important that they get a grip on it, and it's so difficult because it is adjacent to their city. It's adjacent to that beautiful park down there and they've got a huge encampment problem that keeps cropping up, which I think is they've determined that's where the fires have come from. So I think it's really important for us to understand that they're asking for control of their own destiny, and it's a good thing, so I totally support it. And I think it will really give them clarification on their firefighting and also on their cleanup and ability to kind of control what goes on their borders. So I would recommend, I would move that we approve the King City changes as presented by staff.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion from Leffel, a second from Daniels. There's a trend here today. Let's open it up officially for public comment for anyone else who was with us and wanted to join. I'm not seeing anyone in chambers, and other than Doreen, we've only got one other, it looks like, attendee with us online who may want to comment. So we'll see if there's any desire for comment. And then I'll just briefly make my comments of appreciation and support for the City of King. They really have gone above and beyond in terms of taking responsibility and ownership for finding solutions to issues of unhoused residents in the adjacent areas around the city, and now, committing to ongoing resolution of encampments. The county, I texted with Roxanne Wilson, our county homeless coordinator, this morning, just briefly about this parcel, knowing that the state dollars that have been available, the home key projects that have been available, the partnership with the Housing Authority, it really has been an incredible example of everyone coming together, but truly and only because of the leadership of King City's elected and city team, I have to assume in partnership and with the support of the city residents and community who have decided that they want to ensure that their neighbors adjacent to the city have appropriate, safe, and stable housing. So I just wanted to express my sincerest and deepest appreciation to the community of King City for owning those solutions in ways that are meaningful and significant. With that, let's take all in favor of the motion. Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we'll consider that a unanimous approval and move right along to item number 11, our executive officer's communications. We'll pass it to you, Kate.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Agenda item number 11 contains a one-page staff report on the last page of your meeting packet, identifying various coordination matters that we've been involved in recently or will be involved in the next month or so. So I have no additional comments. Here for any questions you may have. Thank you.
All right, any questions or comments from the board? Commission, whoever we are. Seeing none, is there any public comment on our executive director's report? Seeing
No hands raised.
no hands raised, we can, I guess, just accept this report. We don't need a motion. Do we need a motion to accept this report? I don't think we do. All right, with that then we'll move to commissioner comments. Do any commissioners want to make brief comments on matters within the jurisdiction of LAFCO? I'm looking around. I don't see anyone jumping for the microphone. In the absence of commissioner comments, we can continue right along to our closed session. We do have a few closed session items today, and I will let our counsel read us into closed session.
First, I should note that the second item will be taken off as we have no update to provide on that.
Right.
But on the first item, the commission will be convening in closed session pursuant to Government Code 54957 regarding the public employment of the executive officer and the public employee performance evaluation also of the executive officer.
All right, is there any public comment on our closed session today?
Chair, no hands are raised.
Not seeing any public comments, so we will head into closed session. And can we convene or adjourn from closed session?
We can report out for our
Okay, We will be adjourning from closed session. Our next meeting of LAFCO Monterey County will be scheduled for Monday, August 25th, 2025, right here in the Monterey County Government Center. Thank you.